Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of the X Button and your news section. I am one of your hosts, Alejandro, and with me it's the reincarnation of Steve Irwin.
Paul. Hey, everybody.
I'm really loving that shirt. Is that like what is the name of what's that brand? Because I think I have those
Magellan.
kind of yes, I have those kinds of shirts, but in different color also.
I have a few, but yeah, I'm doing awesome. It's been a busy day and a busy week for me so far, Alejandro.
You were in errand duty, right? Just right now.
I was on errand duty. I had taxes. I had things to drop off. I had things to pick up. I had places to be. I basically circumnavigated the entire greater New Orleans area today, all the way through Metairie, around Kenner. I know this means nothing to you. All the way around the West Bank, in just like one fell swoop, following the Mississippi River, and then coming back up, splitting through New Orleans to finally finish up. And I'm still not done.
Yeah, you're taking a break to record this.
Yes, I am. Alejandro, how you been?
Well, it's funny that you asked me last week what I did with managing and all that. I'd be like, oh yeah, I work from home.
Yeah.
Turns out, not anymore. Back at office. But just in the mornings. So it's like, yeah, we need someone to like oversee stuff in the spot while like in the morning. And I was like, I'll do it because I have recordings to do in the afternoon. So that works well. So in fact, I'm actually glad because I feel even more energized for having just gone out. Or more like going out that's not just going on hikes, because it's just been going on hikes and being home. That perpetual loop of hike place, home, hike place, home. And now I'm like, oh yeah, we're kind of breaking a little bit of the loop. I've been a perpetual death loop. So yeah. And also I think it's gonna be a fun news day just based on the things that I was able to type out right before you came in. And also, I just have to roast you a little bit, Paul. I cannot believe you didn't know. Yeah, just for people to know. Paul didn't know you could account share on a Nintendo Switch.
That is correct. Nobody had ever told me. I didn't even know that it was a thing on PlayStation until maybe about 4 years ago. So like halfway through the PlayStation 4's life cycle, I think. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until like somebody that I talked to, he like split all of his sales with his girlfriend because they live separately. And I was just like, you can do what now? That's nice. Mm-hmm. And then I just never utilized it because nobody ever wanted to buy things halfsies and do that. So I was like, all right, I'll just live my life out here by myself.
That's literally how I went the entire PS4 generation with my brother. Because we bought our general PS4 like when it launched, but then I got my own while I was in college. But my brother was using my account, buying games there. He didn't have his own one. So I was like, let's account share. You're gonna have the primary system so that then you can create your own account, like you're with your own profile and all of that. And you can still buy the games through like my account and I get to have them, and we split payment. And we did that for a while. God damn it, are you hearing the construction?
Just a tiny bit,
okay.
Yeah.
We're almost done with construction. We're this close now to never hear that kind of noise other than my dogs. But yeah, I did that, and same thing with the Xbox. I did it with my friend Josh. We account share. Even with our buddy PJ, I account shared for a little bit his account until he got hacked and lost it forever. And me losing a couple games that I had split payment with him that I had to rebuy myself.
That's probably one of the biggest reasons why he's actually so salty about everything we do.
Mm-hmm.
With PlayStation and such.
Oh yes, because he missed out on being diligent about trying to recover. He tried to recover it like a month later.
Yeah. Like
literally a month before the pandemic. Before the pandemic put a lot of robots in place of customer service. So yeah, it's like I just found it funny when you said that you buy physical Switch, like the one thing that you just bought if you want to share it.
There it is.
Like, and I was like, you know, you can account share, right? Because you have your wife with her own Switch, you had mentioned.
Yes.
So. Yeah,
that surprised me a lot. That you can do that. I don't know why. I guess it would make sense that you could, but Nintendo never advertises it. And
Nintendo is Nintendo. You wouldn't expect Nintendo to do something so basic like that.
No,
so I don't blame you. That's one of the only things that they have parity with the other ones when it comes to like digital sharing. So enough roast and enough preamble, Paul. We got a few meaty things today. So press X
for some news.
We usually do news of what's been happening or what happened the previous week because rarely things break on Monday. Thankfully for us, the gods were with us because Elden Ring has been delayed. So, and that was announced today when I woke up. So, the first official 2022 delay news has already begun. Developer From Software confirmed today that they're pushing the highly anticipated Elden Ring from its late January 2022 date, I think it was specific, I just don't remember when, to February 25th, 2022. Why does that date sound like something familiar? Because that day was when the Saints Row Reimagining we saw at Gamescom was revealed to come out. And that date is 3 days after Destiny 2 The Witch Queen expansion and also Sifu, and a week after Horizon Forbidden West comes out. Not to mention that Dying Light 2 is a week before that. This continues to underline just what an incredibly jam-packed / horrible release period early 2022 is gonna be for the wallet.
I am not happy.
In the slightest.
Of all things, I am surprised that Elden Ring got delayed in some ways, but also not surprised about others. I mean, in general, all of this stuff. I'm almost surprised that everything that is set to come out is actually meeting its goal. I wish that it wasn't Elden Ring because January was kind of nice. It was like right before all the craziness really popped off, and it would have been nice to go back to Elden Ring in the midst of all these other releases.
Yeah, it would have been a great starting point for 2022 for us, like a big, hard, but like something you could have there and chip at it when other things come out.
Exactly what I was thinking of doing. So I am a little disappointed by that. I'm also doubly disappointed that it is on February 25th, which, as you just mentioned, is in the middle of everything going on.
Yeah.
Don't appreciate that at all. And 3 days after the Witch Queen expansion, I mean, I've taken a bit of a break from Destiny so I don't burn out again anyway. So
same here, because the seasonal story, like if you've kept up week to week, it's done. So right now it's like the Festival of the Lost Halloween event, and who knows what else until December when there's the 30th anniversary event that's gonna add that's gonna have the Bungie themed things, and also the Galahorn's coming back, and also adding a dungeon and all that. I'm waiting for December. That's when I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna devour this. I'm gonna enjoy everything in between, so I don't burn out either.
I don't think this is going to go well for any of these companies. I mean, what was it, the people that you shared their tweet saying, if I was Saints Row, I would be getting the F out of there?
Yeah, Paul Tassi from Forbes. Yeah.
Because comparatively, Saints Row has a lot more to prove than everything else coming out right now. Even if Elden Ring technically does, it's got so much of that hype riding on it that it's going to help initial sales immensely. Yeah. Saints Row people are going to wait on that one.
Think about Sekiro, the last From Software game. Was Game of the Year for many people in 2019. Not me.
And it came out in like January, February, didn't it?
March 2019.
Oh, wow. Huh.
I'm like, if they were going to push, just go to 2 months. Just like go, or well, that's the thing. March is also equally horrible. Gran Turismo 7, GTA 5, Stranger of Paradise, like, and other things that I even forgot at this moment. It's like there's no good time. Like Elden Ring had a good time in January because it wasn't quite the release tsunami that this is. Yeah, February's insane. Like I'm staking now that the things that I'm gonna be playing in February, just on my because of my personal taste, will be Horizon and Destiny. Everything else is gonna be like, I'll wait for a sale, or unless it's like very highly. Like what happened to me with Metroid. that no one shut up about it. That I was just like, yeah, I'll just buy it, and I'm grateful I did.
All right, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, because
that was
I think
literally me. If you hadn't bought it, I wouldn't have bought it. But then you went through your whole ups and downs of it, and I think I felt like I had justifiable warning on certain things about it. But then I was just like, I've always wanted to get into the Metroid series with Samus, and just wanting to know more about that world.
And just know that thing messed up my finger.
I know. I'm worried. If I'm being entirely honest, I can see it staring straight at me. I'm dreading it.
Yeah, and it's in the name. But I tell you, you're gonna like. But we will talk about that when we get into our what we've been playing part tomorrow. But I can't wait for that. But yeah, if it's gonna be like constant praise from not just the super hardcore like fanboys. Right. Calling out our friend PJ, he's like, so up Nintendo's bought that. He was like, this is the greatest thing ever. No, it was other than just hearing him, just hearing equal praise from other people that I trust more.
Absolutely.
That I was like, okay, he must have a point, because let's remember, he was praising WarioWare, he was praising Super like Mario Golf, all these things. He praises Skyward Sword. So that's why I was like, yeah, it's when you hear it unanimously and no one shuts up about it that it's like, maybe there's something to this, and I'm glad I did, and I can't wait for you and Zach to, because Zach also bought that game today.
I saw the screenshot of that
in your shot, so I was like, yes.
Posted that and then just said fine.
Yes.
That's a big deal from him.
Oh yes. So we got him. Like we broke him. We broke you. Like me and PJ broke you both down to get in, and I'm trying to get him in, just so he can also deliver the praises he wants to say, because I can also take those down a few notches. But I can't wait for all four of us to just talk about the one game that we're all playing. So
it is kind of gonna. Those are always entertaining whenever we actually get into the. Oh, by complete happenstance, we all are playing the same game. Let's talk about our various feelings on it.
And I feel bad for Zach. Like he wanted to come in last week because he wanted to talk about Kena, and we both just ended up not playing it. I was like, dang, it's like, I feel like that could have been this will be like the made good, I feel like.
I hope so, because we still haven't played Kena.
Yeah, I'm still
after I made my progress, I dropped off again, and I feel bad about it because I loved it. But then I was just like, I feel like I need to play other things too, because I want to satisfy myself when I play Kena.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I want to play what I want to play. I don't want to play something because I have to play it. Yeah. Like that's what I didn't play Metroid just because I wanted to, like I had to play it. I eventually just wanted to play it because everything just sounded so appealing. And Kena is that one game that I'm like, you're so pretty, you're so good, I just want to savor it. And I feel a bunch of these games are gonna maybe be that from that early 2022.
It really does feel like that big old bowl of ice cream. You can only have a little bit of it to really satisfy yourself. If you have too much, you're just gonna like really mess yourself up. Not to say that Kena is junk food at all. It's just the highest quality, but you don't want to have the highest quality food all the time, or it kind of ruins everything else.
Exactly. So
that's all I'll say on that.
I'll just say it's like we already said that early 2022 was horrendous, and I feel like it's gonna start now. You're gonna start seeing all this trickling out because everyone should know.
Yeah. Like
a lot of these games are going to suffer by releasing all together, and the worst part is a lot of these games are going to suffer because of fiscal year ends in March, so you may not see it push any farther unless they just want to eat it for that year and kind of like eat it in front of the investors and try to like submit it for like next year's fiscal year. That takes balls. So
it's a lot. Just imagine if they actually do try doing something like pushing Battlefield 2042 into that absolute jungle. I think that's one reason why they're going to meet the November 18th hell or high water, because if they push it back, sales are going to be affected so much worse, even if the product is worse now. They'll take that hit because they know they'll get more sales out of it.
Exactly. And not only that, now they have kind of here's what's funny. January, it's so bare bones now, other than like Rainbow Six Quarantine or Extraction. Yeah.
I almost said Pandemic.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right.
Yeah, it's I feel maybe if to Hell or High Water, it's like they're just not up to snuff. I think maybe they could, if they have to push, maybe January would be like the safest.
That would be the best choice.
But
I don't know. I doubt they will. But
yeah, if they want sales, like February and March are effed. Like they're effed completely. So number 2, Paul. Like just to talk about more upcoming releases. DC held its second virtual DC fandom event, where amongst different updates for their upcoming TV, movie, and comic slate. By the way, that Peacemaker TV show, I can't wait for it. It looks
looks really funny. I watched that. Yeah.
And the Batman trailer, I was more impressed with last year's trailer. This one felt a little bit more. Everyone's like praising it. I'm like, it looks like The Dark Knight. Last year's felt more unique, like a prestige cable series, but we're not a movie. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
They also showed once more another look at their 2 upcoming video game properties, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and Gotham Knights. While showing...
Which I found out, I want to cut you off, because I found out they are also making the crypto game, and there's a trailer for that out. I don't know if you heard about that.
Wasn't that just a movie? Or did I just tune that out?
It's an animated game, I think. And I forget what it's called, but it was like the Buzz Lightyear shooter, where he's flying forward and he's shooting stuff up. And it's like Adventures of Crypto and Ace or something. But I did spot that in the middle of everything else.
That Crypto the dog, right? Let me see.
Yeah. And he looks like he's animated, but it was like a actual game. Looked terrible, but it looked cute. Like it was a genuine kids game.
Yeah, it's DC League of Super Pets. Yeah, that's what it was called. Yes, but that's not like their big headliners like these other ones.
I wanted to throw that out there because.
But yeah, it's good to know. Like it's a good point because they have something else like that heroine.
The superhero girls.
Yeah, the superhero girls that's on Switch also. So they also.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, for at least this event, they gave spots to these 2: Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and Gotham Knights, while showing story trailers that further explain each game's premise, like the Suicide Squad being tasked in hunting a mind-controlled Justice League, and the remaining Bat family unraveling the conspiracy that is the Court of Owls. The event also emphasized that both of these games are slated to release in 2022 at an undetermined time. Grown. Considering Gotham Knights was originally slated to come out in 2021 and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was originally teased with a 2022 release window, it is safe to assume Gotham Knights will absolutely release in 2022, with Studio WB Montreal not releasing a single game for almost 9 years since 2013's Batman Arkham Origins, and Suicide Squad having the potential to slip to 2023, assuming it's not ready, or DC realizing releasing 2 DC games in the same year risk cannibalizing each other. I cannot believe none of those games had like a solid release date after being in the second event where they only showed a year. I was like, I was baffled. I was like, I bet Gotham Knights was gonna have at least a release, considering we were supposed to play it this year. It's been in development for a while.
Yeah. I don't know what they had to do. Either they had to go back and fix certain things that really slowed them down. I'm definitely more excited about Gotham Knights still. I know almost nothing about the Court of Owls outside of exactly like them being some of the higher ups of Gotham. But I love the concept of it, and I love the aesthetic. Love the masks.
If you can read the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo run from early New 52 that introduced the Court of Owls, that's some top tier Batman content. And
I'll ask y'all on the messenger to find like exact titles.
Yeah, I read some of it, like as much as I could find, because sometimes you can find comics, sometimes in stands, and like there were some libraries back when I was in college that I would like Barnes and Nobles that have them, and I would just pick them and read them. But obviously, you can find them at the freecomicbook.com or whatever thing that is.
Read comic books online.
Online.com. Even though if you want to support comic book creators, you should buy them at Comixology.
I say try it out on there and then go buy them.
Yes. I would say like watching Gotham Knights, like I think it's a little bittersweet that they're finally doing a Court of Owls thing in a game, but it's without Batman. That's
True.
like because that's the whole premise of Gotham Knights. Like Batman died, allegedly, quote unquote.
Yeah,
Like that's
that's
all.
not bad.
Yeah, that's always a. And I also find it funny that they're doing a Batman died after Arkham Knight, despite this game's not being at all in the same universe, even though it could have been
No.
easy. Which is funny that they said like Rocksteady that's doing Suicide Squad. They said that game takes place in the Arkham universe, and they did a cheeky note at the beginning with like almost the exact same intro to Arkham
I
Asylum.
saw that. I thought that was
Despite
kind of neat.
yeah, despite the tone being definitely more Sunset Overdrive, like more funny, like more
Hmm.
over the top. Uh, I just found that I was like, yeah, it's a. I wish this was a Batman game against the Court of Owls, but we also have never had a what you call it, a
Bad family.
Nightwing, yeah, Bat Family Nightwing headline game. So even though you can play as Nightwing in the Arkham games, like in specific instances or in the
Yeah.
challenges, uh, this is the first time you're gonna have like a game headlined by the Robins, bad like the Robins basically, because Jason Todd is there and Batgirl, and it's a co-op game, optionally. So that
Yeah.
should.
So I wanted to ask some context. What kind of a game is Gotham Knights supposed to be? Because it's like, is it Arkham style still
It
with
still
like heavy
looks.
single player aspects?
It looks like it still has the skeleton of the Arkham games. If you look at the trailer they revealed last year, they actually had a gameplay reveal. It's supposed to be that, but with co-op. You can have one two player co-op is the max you can have, and if
Yeah.
it's not co-op, you always have like a companion with you. That's why you always see some characters together. But the combat is supposed to be similar to Arkham, but enemies now have like health levels, like the RPG-ness that like infects everything these days. So
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that side of it. I do like the idea of being able to play with friends, but I feel like that's never going to happen because people like you and me, that just doesn't really happen very often anymore.
I mean,
I know
we
you and
have
me can
now.
play
Yeah,
together,
we can play
but
together. We can stream it like we're doing with Halo. You can watch
that is
the Halo
true.
streams that we've been doing.
I'm gonna give you the credit for that. But in the context of general adult audiences, I don't appreciate when they almost like borderline lock content behind the requirement of co-op
Mm-hmm.
because it's very difficult to find that. Just like how we've been seeing the high player counts required for certain multiplayer games out here
Mm-hmm.
is shooting themselves in the foot. Not to mention the whole idea of having to play certain games that I don't have a very good ability to reach out to other people or the time to cultivate those kind of relationships. And I know anybody else with a professional adult life, they don't have that either.
Yeah, from I can agree with that. Like I have been thankful that I found like a core group that I can play like Destiny with from like my college years and onwards.
Poor group.
Or group, yeah. And I
Regularly
haven't.
play.
Yeah, no, and I have other friends like even from here. Like I found this like Hispanic clan for Destiny. I'm not part of their clan, but they kind
Yeah.
of like just grab me in because I'm a Latino playing Destiny, and there's like
Yeah.
a group from like Argentina, Mexico, Salvador.
That's
like,
awesome.
so I've been wanting to like bring you in, but it's like some of them don't speak English. I was like, that's gonna be
Yeah.
bad experience for you because they know how to raid real quickly. But like I don't have a group that plays like Warzone. Like my brother has his core group and he competes. I
Right.
don't know anyone else that plays Marvel's Avengers. I would love to do like some of the higher end content of that game because I enjoy that game a lot. So
Yeah.
I get it. They've said that you can play all these games completely by yourself. That's not gonna be a problem. It's like it's optional co-op. They're not service games. They specifically
That's good, at
these are not service games. So even though like Suicide Squad, when it was revealed, some of the language that it used kind of made it seem like it was gonna try to go the road of Avengers with like the 4 different characters, and because that can be a 4-player co-op game, but we haven't seen gameplay yet. We don't even
Right.
know if it's like a brawler, if it's a shooter, a looter. We don't know yet. So that's why I feel that Suicide Squad game could be pushed because we haven't really seen gameplay. With Gotham Knights, we saw gameplay like last year because we were supposed to play it this year. So
Mhm.
I just hope I get to play. I just hope I get to play it soon. I want
Yeah.
a Batman game or
Um,
like
I
a DC game.
hot take. we should have regular demos be a thing again.
Absolutely.
I
Or like
mean,
what we
we've
talked
been
about.
getting hit with that recently with our Stranger of Paradise and some
Mhm.
other things going on. That's been fantastic to like get a good feel of a game, and
Yes.
I feel like that hasn't been a thing for the last decade or
And
so.
obviously, like demos are always a catch-22 or like a 50-50. There's some people that you play the demo and then it will completely, what you might call it, it would like, I lost my train of thought. Let me.
Talking about like the Resident Evil kind of demos.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like because my brother was texting me and I was looking at his text. He, oh my god, I hate when I multitask. Yeah, I finally have a frame for it here. Stranger of Paradise, like for example, it's 50-50. Some people can come out of it completely liking it. Some people can come out completely hating it. So, but and that's always the risk. So I think that's why they didn't. They kind of stopped trying to do demos because there's always that risk. I will say, Batman Arkham Asylum had a demo that completely sold me on the game back in 2009. Same as the Forza Unleashed demo that I played over and over and over and over and over again.
Oh, dude, the Force Unleashed demo.
Yeah,
I played that thing constantly. That like clip show they had after you beat the demo of like
hype.
What's coming for you. I was like, oh my goodness, just take me. I remember being more hyped about that than just about anything else. Maybe Halo 3.
Yes.
I think overall it's a good thing because so many people out there are not going to play games until way later after release. That's just the fact of the matter. Very few in the grand scheme of the industry are going to pick it up day one within the first week. It's always about those reviews and following up with stuff like that. If we have a demo, I think it gives a lot of people that opportunity to move up their purchase.
Yeah, and I remember what I was gonna say. Remember, was it last week or 2 weeks ago that we talked about the PSN trials that already happened in the UK?
I think that might have been last week.
Yeah, but so whenever we talked about that, days just kind of blend together right now. Really maybe that could be if people don't want to do demos, because the problem with doing a demo is that you have to carve out a specific slice of a game, and it's kind of like what happens with E3. Like you see developers, if you see behind the scenes documentaries, doing a demo is like, it's not just like slicing. It's like you have the game and just let's bring the game and just cut it here. No, they have to like do a build that it's a demo. So that takes sometimes resources away, and game development has become harder. So that's why like maybe some demos don't have it. And like in the Stranger of Paradise case, they wanted that because they needed the feedback. They're specifically like, this is the only few times that I see a demo actually be called a demo, even just trial version, that even had its trial. After you finish the trial, you press square and there's like the survey, and they literally ask you everything, like at granular detail, because they want to keep tuning that thing until the end. You saw some tuning from the original demo that was corrupted at E3 to the one that you and I played, and just from there it's like, yeah, they're actually implementing feedback, but they're still implementing feedback. So I think having demos that are not like complete slices, but more like a dev tool of, what do you think of this, kind of like actual betas should be. That's what's funny. You release a beta and they're basically demos. They're just called beta because they just sound cool,
right?
Even though beta is like supposed to be a very early part of the game, that there's many days ahead of development, and the beta term has just been effed.
I think it's just like how words lose their meaning and gain new meaning as the generations go on, where people don't use the word literally for literal things anymore. It's like an enhancer to whatever they're saying. And I think it's kind of a similar thing. People now understand that beta means I can play it. Demo used to mean I can play it, and now means something slightly different that I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly what a lot of people think of it as, but every time I see one, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm just going to go off and do this other thing now. But I think especially betas are used in the multiplayer context a lot to test servers and other things. I think people think that betas are more finished than they actually are, because a lot of it is because the game is already all together and they just want to test player counts and strengths.
And that's the thing. Like I mentioned it to you during our Battlefield rant from last week.
Mhm.
Like when you release something that's just a month out and you call it a beta, that is a complete bald-faced lie, because because that should just be called a technical tech test. It's why the Halo flights, I have massive respect for them, because not only were they technically solid, they never called it beta. They just called it technical tests, because they were very open about it just being like stressing the servers.
I think in reality, though, it doesn't really matter what it actually means. It just means what they want the customer to understand it as.
Yeah.
And I think it's just another matter of, like, on the meta side of things, people are understanding words differently nowadays.
They are misrepresenting what beta actually means in game development and have weaponized that for early access, like to kind of incentivize more players to play it. Because when you hear the word beta, then it's like, oh my god, we're playing this very early.
Yeah.
That's how betas used to be. Even Halo 5, for example, had a beta that was 8 months out. That was a beta.
Gosh.
Yeah, you played the Halo 5 beta in December 2014. That game came out in October 2015.
Good lord.
That one is the true example of a beta, because then you knew, okay, everything that they're doing here, they have enough time to implement that. The whole beta thing completely broke down with Fallout 76 when they released the beta 2 weeks before the game came out and did the bald-faced lie that, don't worry, it's like, this is not what the game is, and the game was exactly like that, just as broken. So that's why I always tell you, don't believe when they say, oh, this is an old build, if we're too close to release date. So
that's true. I do have a few gaps in some of my examples with those. I wanted to make a slight mention of what you were talking about with technical tests. I remember a specific example of, not only it was like a beta for Ghost Recon Wildlands. They didn't call it that. They called it KOZ technical test. No idea what that means. But then nobody really played it or did anything about it, because technical test sounds a lot different than what people have come to understand the whole concept of beta is.
Because it got weaponized. The term beta has been weaponized now.
And talk about another thing that's been weaponized: early access. That is putting a game in hostage situation, saying pay for this and eventually we might finish making it.
Yeah.
There's been good examples of it, but
I would say, like, I'm not as mad as early access in a way, especially in the PC scene, because it has been exactly what it has been. I have more problem with some games actually releasing as $60 early access games, i.e. Battlefield 5, that launches with complete content missing that they're gonna add over time. That is actual early access, but they don't sell it as early access despite being there. That's what's funny, is like the whole service, the games as a service thing, some developers try to cop out and be like, no, we're just adding things over time.
Yeah.
Because this is a service game. When the actual reality is that, no, we are not done yet. We can't delay this. We have to release this now. But we're not gonna call it early access, because there's a dirty connotation to early access, because a game is not finished. But we can't say it's early access because we want to sell this at $60. So that's been one big problem with service games.
True. And just to, like, bring us full circle, if they're doing any of this stuff, especially for looter kind of games, I am really hoping they're not going to go that route with Gotham Knights specifically, for one thing. I'm curious to see what they're doing with Suicide Squad. I'm for one tired of the whole evil Justice League, but I will say I like that they're doing something different. It seems they've got Brainiac showing up. At the very end, they had Wonder Woman fighting Superman. So clearly it's not just the Suicide Squad, but maybe like slowly they get this unified effort together. Last thing I wanted to mention is their use of Amanda Waller's voice actress slash face.
Deborah Wilson.
I love the lady. If you ever happen to watch this, I love your acting. You were fantastic in Jedi Fallen Order.
And Wolfenstein, the new Colossus.
That was her. Okay, yeah, fantastic. please work with your face molding people to just do something about the bug-eyedness that comes out. I know her as a person, she looks like a human, but every time they put her in a game, she just has these wild bug eyes.
Yeah.
And she just stares into your soul.
Yeah, and it's like it's not her fault. That's exactly, it's the people that mold her face, and that's why I feel it would be better for her to just provide her voice instead of just like the actual facial feature, because
or use it as an inspiration and then stylize.
So, Sabathun from Destiny 2. That's Deborah Wilson. So she has a great voice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
and then I mean we'll talk about another time, but the idea of celebrities and voice acting, I'm sure we can touch on that another day, but
in the topic for the other section of the show, but let's not get too
we're not going to get off on that. I just wanted to let that last moment, because we were still on the DC thing. And do you have any last things before we want to jump forward?
Speaking of demos, I think it would behoove Warner Montreal to release a demo for Gotham Knights, because let's not forget, like, Arkham Origins, not a very beloved game other than some of the people that love elements from it. So so I think a demo for that one, beta, whatever you want to call it, like a way for people to try it would do enough to engender a lot of goodwill for that game. Same with Suicide Squad. If especially it's going to be a multiplayer game, they should do like previews. They shouldn't just release that thing into the wild with us not being able to play it in whatever terminology they put it out. So I hope they do that. And Gotham Knights, if you're releasing in 2022, don't release in January, February, or March, please. If that happens, it's gonna be suicidal.
Take the hit. Move on.
Yes.
Please.
And moving on, number 3. After teasing they would have won at their last big Nintendo Direct, Nintendo held their Animal Crossing centric Direct last week, where they detailed the additions to the game coming with their big 2.0 patch, and also revealed a DLC pack for the game called Happy Home Paradise, which is slated to release in November 5th, 2022. Editorial note, the same day as Call of Duty Vanguard. Lol. More notable,
You said 2022?
I'm sorry, 2021, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we clarified that.
Yes, I misread there. Yeah, it's coming out this year.
Okay,
so
cool.
The same day as Call of Duty Vanguard.
I was like, gosh, we gotta wait that long for Animal Crossing? What the heck?
Yes.
Yeah.
More notable, however, is the fact that they announced this 2.0 patch and DLC are meant to be the final content update for Animal Crossing New Horizons, bringing a relatively quick end to the smash hit from 2020. Remember, that game has sold like 30 million copies and it's only been out for a year. That helped so many people cope with the beginning of quarantine in the pandemic last year.
Amen to that.
And continued the trend of Nintendo having games that could essentially be service titles, i.e. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Super Mario Maker 2, by receiving a stop date to their support despite their nature. The DLC is going to retail for $24.99, as well as an additional option that's in the next story. Before I move to that, Animal Crossing is coming to an end, Paul. At least this version of Animal Crossing. That sucks.
Probably just gonna like resell it to us again or something, honestly. I wish that they had continued stuff like that, especially with how big of a success it was. You just make stuff up, put stuff in the game, use old assets, doesn't really matter. But like when you have that many people that bought that game, that is a huge market to dive into. Even if you do like cheap random stuff for the next year or whatever, I mean, if this screams to me that they have something else going on, or they just really don't want to deal with Animal Crossing anymore.
I think it's Nintendo being Nintendo. They just don't remember, Nintendo's gonna do what Nintendo loves doing, and they see that games as a service trend, games that can live for a while and you can keep supporting, and they don't want to jump into that trend despite having many games that could fit in that. I didn't even put it here. Mario Kart 8. Why didn't they keep releasing more tracks? Why didn't keep releasing more characters? Especially the Switch version of Mario Kart was just the Wii U version, basically a Game of the Year edition with everything just packed in. And that game just keeps selling. That's what's so hilarious. It's like, and that's the thing, Nintendo fans are just gonna give them money for everything because they can. It's Stockholm syndrome with Nintendo. They can keep abusing, like Nintendo can keep abusing their fans, and their fans are gonna be like, Mar, like especially with the next thing that we're gonna talk about.
Uh,
Number 4. So very sneakily, Nintendo inserted in their Animal Crossing Direct the pricing detail for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack, the add-on that's meant to add Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games to the service later this October. They inserted the pricing details in this Direct because they announced that if you get the expansion pack for the service, it would also include the $25 expansion for Animal Crossing, despite the existing option of buying it by itself, and the N64 Genesis games, all for the price of $49.99 a year, as well as a $79.99 a year for the family plan. This is a whooping price increase from the base Switch Online service that gives you the ability to play online games, store some games to the cloud, some, not all of them, and play a selected curated list of NES and SNES games, which was $19.99 a year and $34.99 for the family plan.
Nintendo is gonna do what Nintendo is going to do.
They're
This
going
situation, it's not good.
No. When I saw that, I wanted to tear my hair out. I was like, I'll give them to them. They have balls. They absolutely have
So many.
the biggest balls I've ever seen. Maybe not blue balls, but maybe red balls. Because I cannot believe who in their right mind, they cheekily put this here. Because imagine like if you try to like justify this price. It's like, oh, I was gonna buy the DLC for Animal Crossing anyway. Oh, what's that? It's already included there? Oh, so that means it's just $5 extra for the N64 games. It's all together, despite the fact that you're renting the DLC from them.
Yeah, because to clarify, if you stop having the expanded pass, you no longer have the DLC.
You will
for
have to buy
Animal
it.
Crossing.
Yeah.
You're not purchasing it in that
Yeah.
price.
You're
renting.
renting it from them. And the N64 is so easily emulated these days. You can get like Dolphin emulators, OpenEMU, all of this. And what an insult that they say that a system where you can't even chat online unless you have your phone with you, that you have to like download the app and connect some weird bondoogle thing to be able to chat. Now it's
Ubisoft. Now
$50.
Nintendo's finally got you dropping it.
Yeah. No, I just have to call them that. It's like Nintendo's games, amazing. Metroid, I love. I will not tell them about the business decisions. This was the probably the low point for me because just the audacity. And that's the thing. I mentioned Stockholm Syndrome. In their audacity, they're gonna keep like driving that metal thing up everyone's butt. I'm not gonna say what it is, but you can imagine what it is. And then they're gonna keep that abuse going. But everyone, all the diehards, gonna be, give me more. Nintendo's the best. They can never do wrong. Them. Like literally, it's like that's. I hate that they're gonna, and I tell you, they're gonna get away with this. This is insanity. And to me, the worst part was that if they had just been like, no, this is a special price that you can get if you want to include the Animal Crossing thing. That's the thing. I don't have Animal Crossing. I'm never buying Animal Crossing because that's not my kind of game. I'm glad that they didn't need my money because they made like $30 million, like 30 million copies sold just in a year, which is insanity. If they had just been like, okay, if you don't want the expansion pass, this is going to be $30 at the very least for all of this. But the fact that this is now the only way you can play the N64 games, that you're getting this expansion no matter what.
Yeah.
It's I couldn't believe it. I was excited to be able to play it because I was like, there's no way for me to like currently my computer doesn't have the emulators. I kind of want to play Yoshi's Story again. Ocarina of Time, I played it on my Wii that I connected earlier this year, but this is going to enhance the game because they're doing the enhancements they did to Mario 64 on the 3D All-Stars collection. They're doing that for the N64 games. I could play that, and then I'll play Majora's Mask. I'm now at the point where I'm like, I'll wait now until there's more games added to that thing, because let's not forget, only 9 N64 games. Only 9.
They're vastly overvaluing what we are willing to pay for the average crew. We're not talking about the fanboys because, as we've established, they're going to buy literally anything
because they have Stockholm syndrome.
They'll be fine with it.
So...
I almost don't want to blame them because that's having a counselor for a wife is many benefits. One thing that you learn about that is the concept and symptoms of abuse. This is literally emotional abuse because of what they're doing is they're showing you, I forget the term, but there's a concept of showing love at certain random times, and it tricks you into thinking that you are in a good relationship. Unfortunately, well, all it does is it lets you discount all of the bad things because they do this one good thing and they're like, but look, Nintendo re-released some of these games that we don't have access to anymore. They gave us Skyward Sword, guys. They've been doing all of these amazing things for indie games and making it so easy for us to travel with our game systems. Well, yeah, but that doesn't discount the fact that they've been doing some really predatory practices. They have a theme park now.
Yeah.
They don't get sympathy anymore.
No.
Once you have your own theme park, you can make fun of them for anything. Looking at you, JK.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna get off my soapbox, but
Oh,
yes,
man, yes.
I'm calling Nintendo out for actually being an abuser and threatening people with what they're doing right now.
No, not only that. Let's remember they released a $25 shortcut for Skyward Sword. So
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. We're not getting into
yeah,
that.
yeah. So that's the thing. I got mad over that. See, that this is why people should speak about these shitty practices, because that's where it gets you. They are abusing your nostalgia, because that's the one thing that I cannot believe is it's like they are weaponizing the fact that people grew up with all these games. They're just gonna like tax you to hell and high water, even though you can literally download an emulator because these games are not being sold. If they had actually given the option for you to be able to individually piecemeal buy this stuff, I would have had more respect over the asinine idea of paying $50 for the shittiest online service in the planet. Because let's not forget, by $10 more, you get the PS Plus or Xbox Live. Way superior services. And if you're not even doing Xbox Live, let's go to Game Pass for $10 more. You get a Game Pass for a full year. Maybe not Ultimate, but you get Game Pass that has games that run the gamut from old stuff to new stuff. And this is just N64 and let's just say it like this. Genesis is just being added to try to say, but look, we added all Genesis games. No, it's like, who cares? They're just adding just to say, because we added all this. This is how all of that should raise the price triple what it was. It's, oh man.
It's messed up. That's simply all it is in the end, honestly. It's genuinely messed up. Just like you said, the comparison of all that. I mean, PlayStation Network, you get Party Chat, you get all your stuff, you get 2 free games at least every month.
And now 3.
Game Pass, you get hundreds of library of hundreds of games, literally, for the price that you pay for that. And Nintendo's out here like, yeah, you get like 9 games. For
and the worst part is that I don't think there's a worse fan base than Nintendo fan base, because they literally defend everything. I, in this show, had to rake every company to the coals because it's fun to do that when they F up. Sure. Yeah, I already want explicit here. I'm gonna bleeping that. And
just remember it.
Yes, no, I always bleep it. It's in there in post process. But it's like they can do no wrong. And you see all this. I saw this insane take of someone be like, "Oh yeah, if you like break it down, this is less than a Starbucks cup costs you." Like, there's asinine people going all the way to find any kind of like comparison to justify this atrocity. You don't see that everywhere. Like, you don't see it with the other ones. So it's like, oh man, Nintendo's the worst, and it sucks that their games are so good.
And the world still spins.
Yeah, and the world still spins, exactly. Number 5, the good thing is, For the last 33 months, since November 2018, the Nintendo Switch has been the number one selling console in the United States, month after month, always beating PlayStation and Xbox consecutively. 33 months. However, the NPD group revealed that on September 2021, the streak was officially broken, as the PlayStation 5 has taken top honors for the single month. Considering the console has been heavily supply constrained, even though at this point in its life cycle it's outpacing its predecessor, it finally overtook the Nintendo Switch. That's been like that king over there, even though the other two are fighting down here.
Mm-hmm.
So, is this a sign that people that have been fretting the lack of a next-gen console are going to have an easier time acquiring one now? Anecdotally, I helped a friend get a PS5 through the PSQ that they revealed.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was like, I'll help you. Let's see. I already have mine, so and then eventually we got in, and he got it. He got it today. So I think it's getting easier.
It sounds like it is. More and more of my friends, my core group that plays Rainbow Six, I think out of all of them, I think maybe only one does not have the PS5 at this point. And that's 5 people, all of which very different variations of life position and monetary capability. Most of them are able to get it now, so I think it's getting easier and easier for people to find it in more stable ways, even though you're not able to maybe like walk in and just find one on the shelf. What's up?
And as an aside, check your email if you haven't had a PS5. Sony sent an email saying, put your PSN here, we're putting you on a queue now, so we can guarantee you a console.
That's cool.
What they started doing that back in like September, October of last year. Me and my brother signed up for it. We never got one, like an invitation. Yeah. And because when they do the PSQs, sometimes they open ones to ones that had signed up for it, so they take like priority access, and then they open the floodgates with what's left, and it's luck of the draw. So if you still want a PS5 and you don't want to follow the YouTube accounts like Jake Randall and all that do all this, they keep track of when there's like restocks everywhere and have all this trick for you to get it and blah blah blah. Like, it seems like they are slowly getting their supply ready and right on time, because this is the holiday. This is when you have to hit more.
About time.
Check your email, sign up for that if you want a PS5. I'll say this, after the whole thing we just read about Nintendo, I'm glad they got knocked out of the top throne right now, because that's the kind of
now,
yeah, at least for now. It may go back again. I mean, the Nintendo Switch OLED released this month. I bet you top dollar that thing's going to knock the PS5 down again from number one right now in October. Especially
I hope it doesn't,
with
but it probably will.
Yeah, it will. So this is the kind of things that when you knock some people off its pedestal, you don't let them abuse you.
True.
Final story in number 6. Also broke today. The NPD also released the top game sellers for the month of September. Here's the list. Coming in at number 1, Madden NFL 22. Coming in at number 2, FIFA 22. Number 3, NBA 2K22. Number 4, Tales of Arise. Number 5, Diablo 2 Resurrected. Number 6, Deathloop. Number 7, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 8, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 9, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 10, Life is Strange True Colors. Number 11, Mario Kart 8. Number 12, Diablo Prime Evil Collection. Number 13, Sonic Colors Ultimate. Number 14, Minecraft. Number 15, WarioWare Get It Together. Number 16, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Number 17, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 18, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 19, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And number 20, Mortal Kombat 11. Notable stuff from like this list. Even though EA should feel happy taking the 2 top spots with Madden NFL 22 and FIFA 22, even though it came, despite coming in at number 3, NBA 2K22 was on PSN the number 1 game of the month. And since 2K doesn't share digital data on NPD, you can take it to the bank. It was the actual best-selling game of September. Tales of Arise, and sold way higher than expected. And
biggest surprise for me.
As the best-selling non-sport retail game. Diablo 2 Resurrected, selling in the top 5, waving off all the controversy surrounding Activision Blizzard, showing sometimes those things don't matter, and boding well for Call of Duty Vanguard. Deathloop coming in at number 6 is impressive, as it plays in the top 10 when previous Arcane games didn't. Like Prey and Dishonored 2 were the last 2. They were like in the bottom, like at the 20. That's bad. Like for first month sales. Yeah, especially if you're just coming out. And also a reminder, it was an exclusive in a supply constrained system, so it also placed number 2 on the PSN like top downloads, so pretty good.
With a PC port that was trash.
Exactly. So Sony should feel happy at the retail and digital legs of Ghost of Tsushima. So over here, like Ghost of Tsushima is number 8 on retail. It was number 6 on PSN, the director's cut. And Spider-Man Miles Morales, which was number 8 in PSN, and it's number 9 here in retail. Death Stranding director's cut, missing the retail list completely. However, it placed number 9 on the PSN top games. Top 10 over there, it's sold these. Like, Sony should be happy if a game in the top 10 in their they receive that money.
Yeah.
So, Life is Strange True Colors should feel pride with their sales considering the kind of series it is.
Big surprise as well.
Yeah,
that
and
used to be like niche.
Yeah, very niche, and it scored number 10 on the PSN top downloads also. So it's funny, it was 10-10 in both. WarioWare Get It Together came in softer than fans would like. A Nintendo game coming in at number 15. That's like, and we don't have news about digital because Nintendo doesn't share digital data on the NPD. So until they release the numbers in their very transparent numbers that they have in the website that you can check right now, it's like nintendo.com.jp. But you can Google Nintendo sales figures, you'll see the games there. So we'll know what Wario's true sales were about. At 15, not so good. Despite also coming in soft, it stings to see the abysmal Sonic Colors Ultimate outselling Wario. That really sucks.
That's really funny, honestly.
that really sucks.
We've seen the cutscenes of Sonic Colors Ultimate
on the Switch, especially.
If y'all haven't, please do.
Oh my God.
It might give you a seizure, though.
Yeah, epilepsy aware with those. Really, really bad. But again, Sonic, he still pushes it a little up. You still beneath 10, you're selling soft. If you're wondering why Kena Bridge of Spirits is nowhere in the NPD, it was a digital only release when it came out in September. A physical release is coming out next month, and it scored number 3 on the PSN top downloads, right behind Deathloop and NBA 2K22. That's pretty good.
And it came out late September.
Yes, so I'm happy for those guys. Anything else you want to like note from this like list here?
I just want to mention how impressed I am with Tales of Arise. That's definitely going to be a holiday pickup, especially if I've picked up Metroid Dread now. That might be my next choice. I might ask for that one. I'm
guarantee we'll have a sale also because it's not a Nintendo game. So
yes, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, Ghost of Tsushima and Miles Morales. I love that they're just continuing to sell really well. Do we know if Ghost of Tsushima is that like mixed in with its director's cut sales? Or
in the right now you can only buy director's cut. As of right now, like the normal edition has been they discontinued because buying a new copy of because the new buying a new copy of Ghost of Tsushima automatically is a director's cut, whereas on PS4 and PS5. And there's a chance it's on both. That game has been laggy. I mean, Last of Us is not even here. So it shows you that Ghost of Tsushima has had legs. Because even though director's cut is basically a re-release, it's just a DLC, the fact it charted at 8. That's pretty good.
Something else that I would like to point out is, or maybe not point out, but maybe we can keep an eye on, is the longevity sales of the Ghost of Tsushima versus Last of Us 2, because we were talking about that back when Last of Us 2 kind of came out and how it outsold Ghost of Tsushima by a decent margin. But I'm wondering if a lot of that was like due to the controversy, it had high sales and then dropped off, whereas Ghost of Tsushima is lower, but it's lasting a lot longer. So, and clearly staying in the minds of people that are playing it.
I know Sony was very proud at the because what was notable is that, remember, Last of Us Part 2 sequel to one of the best-selling PlayStation exclusives of all time.
Yeah.
And also an exclusive that was crowned the best game of that generation, like in Metacritic and many circles. So it had kind of that inherent hype going in. Ghost of Tsushima, new franchise. And it still was the fastest selling new franchise for Sony in that first month. Even though it wasn't the first month sales behemoth that it was Last of Us, it really, like, Ghost of Tsushima is like notorious for resonating really well with players, even more than like critics. In fact, like critics had to readjust their scores when they came to director's cut and gave it higher than before, because it was like they kind of got that, they underestimated how popular Tsushima was. It's not my favorite, but I enjoyed Tsushima a lot.
Yeah, and that's all we really need. One thing I wanted to point out was the crazy changing of the guard between your PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, and signifying it with about PlayStation 4's release. How those that carried over from that initial stage and wave are almost completely gone, and now it's a completely different line of mascots, for lack of a better word.
And not only that, like Ghost of Tsushima is a pleasing game to look at.
Yeah,
like absolutely pleasing game to look, especially like, even though I would say the PS5 specific version is not that huge of a leap from the PS4 version, you can still like play that. That's still one of the prettiest games, like just from an art and color perspective, that makes you feel like you lose yourself in a magical world, even though it's not a magical setting per se. It feels magical, and I feel that's what has kept this game alive, like with legs. That's what's funny, is like some like developers both love a game that sells a lot initially, because there's usual precedence that you're always going to make most of your sales at the beginning, but then you also have to be proud of a leggy game, kind of like a leggy movie, like a movie that opened huge, maybe dipped in the second week, but has kept like making money throughout. That's how some movies, without you knowing, that's how they reach $1 billion sometimes. So and the Spider-Man Miles Morales thing, I bet you know why it's always here, because anecdotally that's the game everyone always buys with their PS5. It's always Miles Morales and something else, so that's why Miles Morales has always kept there, and good, like, and Sony should be happy for that, especially being more of a budget title.
One thing though is back at release, Miles Morales was one of like only 2 real PlayStation 5 exclusives. The fact that it's still up there,
and not really, because it was also on PS4.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a fair point actually, but I also would say that a lot of people didn't know that, because I didn't when it released.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think a lot the just say, oh well, if it's on the other thing, I'm just gonna wait till I get the new thing anyway.
This is a complete anecdote that because they usually the whole excuse of why they're going with they're sticking with this cross generation releases now, with like God of War coming up and Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon, is because it's like, yeah, obviously the console is supply constrained. There's like almost 120 million PS4 sold, so they're not going to. It's like, you would be foolish to like ignore all those 120 people, because there's a likelihood a lot of them are gonna buy your game. However, the sales for Miles Morales, there's Benji Sales, this analyst that I follow, he's a really cool guy. He saw that in the breakdowns that he like found 5-1 more people are buying it on PS5 than the PS4 version.
Makes sense.
So I think it's burning out that if people know there's a better version, they're actually going to gravitate to the better version, despite a bigger install base here. So,
besides that, that's kind of everything that I wanted to mention. I'll point out honorable mentions of Life is Strange, True Colors. I like the concept because it's like not quite weaponizing, but it's pointing out the idea of emotions. And honestly, I don't even remember about the Diablo Primeval collection. Crazy shout out to Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. So I didn't even know what that was. I had to, like, when I wrote it up, I looked it up. That's basically a collection that gives you Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and the Diablo 2 expansions for $60.
All right, shout out to them. Smash Bros. Ultimate selling as good as ever, especially with our lovely boy Sora coming in. Did that happen? Did we talk about that on the podcast?
We did. No, we talked it in the what we've been playing. Sora is coming out next week. And I bet you top dollar that sales of Smash are gonna.
He should be coming out today. It's the 18th.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right,
that
people.
Was the release day.
Yes, people, you can now play as Sora in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I hope you play it, Paul, so you can have some impressions.
Bringing a close to the wild support. DLC support. Last thing I want to mention, kind of shifting to that 6A/B kind of thing. Thank you, Nintendo / Sakurai and everyone working on Smash Bros. Ultimate for bringing us the craziest crossover we will ever see in our lifetime, I think.
That's what's so frustrating about Nintendo, isn't it? The business one makes you feel like the Joker from...
They do the good stuff sometimes.
Exactly.
Like, you know what? I'm not going to thank Nintendo. I'm just going to thank the Smash Bros. Community
and Sakurai.
Sakurai. Just the the crazy level of ability this man had to be able to negotiate all of these people from all of these different developers, all of these different parent companies, and somehow making that crap happen.
And mark my words, when we eventually get NPD results, when we're in November for what October is, Smash is gonna climb from this number because Sora, Kingdom Hearts is a huge seller. That's
People
a huge
that have
seller.
been holding off the whole time will buy just for him.
I would be curious how higher like Smash climbs now that Sora is there, because he's landing right in the October thing. So
yep. But yeah, that's everything for me.
Yeah, and that's everything for the news. So for everyone that's listening in the full episode, right now this is where we transition to what have we been playing. And for everyone else that listened to this fairly foul-mouthed episode of our news roundup, thank you so much, and we will see you next for our individual segment of what we've been playing and whatever topic Paul decides to cook for us, whether it's a long one or a short one. Who knows? As Paul, it was a pleasure, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Always is. And don't forget, guys, press X
to play.
Good night, everyone. Adios.
Adios.